As of right now, as Rangers fans, we don't really know whether or not this team is going to end up being buyers, sellers, or possibly do a bit of both at this upcoming trade deadline. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at one of the newest targets that has possibly become available that could be a phenomenal addition for this New York Rangers team and could truly be a piece that, whether it's this season, maybe not, but eventually down the road, could be a piece that really helps put this team over the top to help them get to that Stanley Cup final and possibly help win it all. So we're going to take a look at this player, kind of what he could possibly end up getting traded for, what the value could possibly look like, his contract, what kind of a player he is, who he is, and kind of what he can truly bring to this New York Rangers team, whether or not they should actually pull the trigger on a deal like this, which, spoiler alert, I definitely think they should. So first off, the player that we're going to be taking a look at in today's video and that has kind of been rumored to be available in trade talks possibly, and that is Jared McCann. Now, this is a player who currently is with the Seattle Kraken. And for Jared, he is someone who has been a very good, consistent NHL player. He has not been some superstar guy, but over the past 5 or 6 seasons, he has just been a really good, consistent, kind of second-line caliber center, which if the Rangers could add in another guy of that caliber, I think that would be quite phenomenal. Right now, the Rangers have a 1-2 punch of JT Miller and Vincent Trocheck. If you can kind of add in a player like a Jared McCann, I think that would be just absolutely incredible for that kind of 1-2-3 punch of JT Miller, Vincent Trocheck, and Jared McCann. That would truly be one of the best kind of 1-2-3 punches. And, there wouldn't be that kind of one elite kind of McDavid, McKinnon level guy, but there would be 3 just really, really good centermen. And obviously, JT Miller, Trocheck can be those kind of true star, superstar level guys at moments, especially JT Miller. So I think that 1-2-3 punch would truly be one of the best in the entire NHL and really add some much needed center depth to this New York Rangers team. And also by adding in Jared McCann, you're kind of knocking back a guy like Johnny Brodzinski, who, I think at moments, sure, if he's your third line center here and there to kind of help, fill in that gap when there's injuries or something like that in a kind of a depth role, hopping in here and there for a third line center spot, I'm okay with that. But if you want to be a serious contender, you cannot have a guy like Johnny Brodzinski as your third line center, but if he's on your fourth line or in that kind of, depth, extra kind of healthy scratch role as a forward, I think that's where he fits best, is kind of that 12/13 forward spot. If he's there, that's very good with his versatility, being able to play pretty much, either wing and center. That's quite nice as a depth forward, but and we're being honest here, he's not really a third line kind of center guy. He's more of a fourth line / depth player. So you add in Jared McCann, you got JT Miller, Trocheck, then McCann, and then you have Sam Carrick with Brodzinski pretty much being that, fifth kind of center there, that extra forward, or you could have him on that fourth line wing there, which helps kind of provide that, depth now where if you have that extra injury, at least Brodzinski now is kind of stepping in to that kind of, third line spot where, obviously he's just kind of there originally right now. And if you have an injury, then you're really in a bad spot. So I think if you add in a guy like McCann, you add in another center here, you move out Brodzinski to that kind of depth role or fourth line spot, have him on the wing there, have him as that kind of extra, centerman, that fifth center. I think that works out really well for this team center depth, which really is a big issue right now. Taking a look, though, at the post on X here from Jacob Stoller, who is a writer for Sportsnet, about the Winnipeg Jets there and stuff like that. He was the one who kind of broke this potential kind of news here involving Jared McCann possibly being available for trade around this upcoming trade deadline. So, taking a look here, he ends up saying, I'm hearing Jared McCann could be made available before the deadline. McCann is a versatile scoring forward that can kill penalties and play center if needed. The 28-year-old carries a $5 million cap hit until the end of the 2026-2027 NHL season, meaning he has 2 more seasons after this one that we're in right now, of term left on his contract, which I think with a $5 million cap hit is quite phenomenal. This is a player who right now is on an extremely good contract. So I kind of wonder how available Jared McCann truly is. I mean, I know the Kraken may not be in a kind of win now window right now, but this is still a player who is, yes, he's 28 years old, so he's getting up there a little bit, going to be turning 29 somewhat soon, but a $5 million cap hit for 2 more seasons after this one, that is a very, very good deal for someone who can be a 50, 60, 70 point kind of guy. And that is truly what he can be. Now, is he season in and season out a 70 point caliber player? No. But is he a still very good player and at moments can be that 70 point guy, but for the most part, just going to be that 50 to 70 point guy, something around there. He's a good two-way center, 6'1" there, decent size, can play a good kind of all-around game there, not necessarily just an offensive or defensive guy, really good kind of two-way center, and I think really is the kind of perfect third-line player. Now, is he someone who's going to come in here and truly kind of change things around instantly and everything's going to change with him coming in? No, but I really do think that with where this Rangers team is at right now, adding in a player like this, if he is available, and that's the big thing, is a guy like this truly available? A 70 point caliber player who's a centerman who can kill penalties, making $5 million for 2 more seasons after this one. Is he really going to be available? We're going to have to wait and see, but if he does become available, there's going to be a major bidding war, I'd imagine, with the cap going up as much as it is already. This contract, originally, even if the cap wasn't going up, I think already looks quite good. But with the cap skyrocketing up, over the next couple of seasons here, that $5 million cap hit is just going to look unreal. So I think if you can bring this guy in here, it really helps. It's kind of, win now window for the Rangers. It really kind of helps them kind of compete over the next couple seasons. But I also don't want this team to go all in right now and kind of feel pressure to really kind of push all the chips in right now, because I also think that could be a bit of a problem. But if he becomes available and they can get him for a somewhat reasonable price, I think this could be an absolutely just stellar kind of trade for the Rangers. Now, it would definitely cost a lot. Like I said, there would be so many teams around the NHL that would be competing in a kind of trade race pretty much for a guy like McCann. I'd imagine there'd be like at minimum half the league kind of making big calls and kind of talks with the Seattle Kraken about making this kind of move because of the caliber player he is, being that second line caliber centerman. There are so many teams that right now could use that second line or third line center that are competing for the playoffs. The Leafs are another team that could use someone like that. The Jets, obviously, as well. The Rangers. So there would definitely end up being a pretty big bidding war, I'd imagine, for someone of this caliber, but I do think would be a really great fit for this team, and is definitely the type of player that I think Chris Drury is potentially targeting as well. I know a lot of Rangers fans may want to see them go after some younger players or may not want to see them go after, another big kind of player like this. We're going to have to give up some really good kind of future assets, whether it is, probably picks and prospects and some high tier ones at that, but I think of a guy of this caliber, being a truly second-line caliber center, but having him in that third-line possible role really just makes this team a whole lot deeper and a whole lot more talented and better, and he can kill penalties, he can play in the power play, he's got that size there, can score, can play make, just an all-around very good centerman. And now let's kind of take a look at his stats and kind of what he's done so far this season in the past couple ones as well. So far this one, though, with the Kraken, he has 57 games played, 14 goals, 28 assists, 42 total points. He does have 12 of his 14 goals at even strength and 19 of his 28 total assists at even strength as well. So not too bad. He does have a majority of his points, 31 out of the 42 at even strength, over half a point per game at even strength is not too bad at all for a good two-way center. So I think that's quite nice there. The previous season, last season, had 62 points, 29 goals, 33 assists, 80 games played. The season before that had 40 goals, 37 assists, 70 points in 79 games played. The season before that had 50 points in 74 games played. So he has been a really good, consistent player at the NHL level over the last kind of 5 or 6 seasons or so. And if I had to kind of guess what a framework of a trade could possibly look like for Jared McCann, my guess would be something like Keandre Miller alongside a pretty high-tier prospect. Maybe it has to be a gay pro. I don't exactly know, and I definitely would love to kind of try and avoid that. So maybe it could be an Offman, who I still don't love to give up, but if it's for someone like Jared McCann, I could understand it. Maybe it's a Brett Berard, an EJ Emery, a Drew Fortescue. There are some good prospects in this system that could be quite valuable, and a team that the Kraken could quite love. So we'd have to wait and see, obviously, what that prospect could be. But I would have to guess Keandre Miller, a good high-tier value prospect, alongside a first-round pick as well for the framework. Now, maybe it's a little more, a little less, but I'd have to imagine it's going to be something at least about this, because you're talking about a player who is a second-line caliber centerman who can be on the power play, kill penalties, play a good two-way game. He's got decent size there at 6'1". He is a very good, consistent player, but he really could end up costing quite a bit. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. And also, definitely don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on the New York Rangers possibly trading for Jared McCann. And also, what are your thoughts on my kind of hypothetical potential trade package for someone like a Jared McCann being a first, Keandre Miller, a high-tier prospect, something like that for the framework. Like I said, it's not kind of a finalized deal in my opinion, but something like that could make a bit of sense in my opinion for both sides. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one. Let's go Rangers.